Hey folks, Adam here, and this is Amy, and we are checking out our favorite adults-only cruise. This leaves out of the Temptation Resort once or twice a week. A really fantastic adventure. Amy's gonna give you a few tips. Do you wanna give the outline of just a couple items? But this is an adventure that we have done several times. We've seen things that we can't even talk about in some areas of YouTube, but we're gonna give you those details. And those other areas, make sure to check out the members only section below.
Right, so we've been asked about this a lot in our DMs. Tons of people want to know, like, have we done this? Yes, we've done it multiple times. I would definitely recommend this. It's a fantastic experience, but I do think that after we've done this several times, we have some tips for you guys to make it as enjoyable as possible. We're gonna try to punch up your day and make it even better. And of course, we're gonna try to keep this video as PG as possible. Just give you the facts, the figures, the stats, what you should do, and then we are going to kind of elaborate a little bit more in other content later for in the member section.
Yeah, and in fact, the way YouTube works, the first 2 minutes, you have to keep it pretty PG.
Yeah, so...
And you can kind of go off the rails a little bit, but when it gets really off the rails, we need to switch it over.
So just as far as an outline, I want to start off by just kind of giving you some things that you need to bring and stuff that you should, have for your day.
Okay.
Some tips on pacing yourself.
Drink water.
I can't even say the next one in the first 2 minutes, so we'll get past that. We're going to talk about some of the fun games, some of my suggestions for making the most of your day, some suggestions for making the most of your time at Isla Mujeres, which is absolutely incredible,
wow, so many things
especially
there.
if you are prepared for it.
Yes.
And later we're going to talk about maybe what's allowed and
what's not allowed.
What's not allowed. And
most things are allowed.
Yeah, I think it's all allowed, right? And we're going to talk about some things that we saw and give you some fun stories again later in those sections where we are allowed to do so.
So let's imagine that you just booked this.
Right.
What should you pack?
So, okay, you just booked and reserved your spot. Sometimes you might need to pay through PayPal or you need to pay the day of. I suggest getting there on time and making sure that, you are on time, you stand in line. It's all next to kind of the hammocks outside of the Temptation Resort. You'll see people gathering there. Definitely make sure that you are on time. And I do suggest, like, while you can book through the resort on site, there'll be kind of people that are selling tickets. It's always best to go through Steve Wright and his crew themselves, in my opinion, because sometimes I think the resort almost sells extra tickets, like counting on some people like not showing up. I would go through Steve Wright and their company directly.
Okay.
So I think that's the best way to do it, in my opinion. And I would go ahead and make sure that I paid through PayPal. I think you can pay the day of, I believe, in cash, but it's better to just go ahead and take care of that beforehand.
One thing I will note, when you say get there on time, it's still Mexico. So it may say leaving at 11 o'clock. There's usually some grace time built in.
Bring your
things start a little casually.
Bring your patience for sure, and I think it depends on every single cruise is going to be a little bit different depending on which boat they're taking and the crew that day and the weather and how many people are there. So you might have something that leaves more on time, and you might have something that's a little bit later. Whatever it is, be patient and be ready to just like chill and have fun, waiting on a beautiful beach for 30 minutes or 45 minutes while the boat is getting ready to be loaded.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So what I suggest you bring with you, first, sunscreen.
You're going to be out and you're not going to be wearing much clothes. Bring a lot of sunscreen, because so many people come back looking like lobsters. Don't just put on sunscreen. Bring some with you, because you're probably getting in the water. You're probably going to get wet. You're probably going to get sprayed. And I've seen so many ladies who aren't used to getting sun
in
just
certain areas.
Burned.
Yeah, and you don't want to come back as a lobster. Also, just pro tip: bringing extra sunscreen to share with friends is a fun way to meet new people and be like, hey, I noticed that maybe you need some sunscreen, and you can help your friends
you did
out.
that with Cass.
Yeah,
that's how we met Cass.
It's a polite thing to do. So make sure you bring sunscreen. Make sure that you bring cash to tip your cruise crew. Of course, they do an excellent job putting on a fantastic party. There's Chino, there's Sarah 69, and they've got an incredible crew that really just know exactly how to get the party started.
You're probably going to want to tip when you leave, so bring some cash with you. Sometimes that's hard to do if you show up without much clothes. Remember to bring some cash in your pockets.
Bring your cash. That's also going to come in handy, and we'll talk about this a little bit later on Isla Mujeres. You may find that you want to have a little extra cash. The food and the buffet is included with your cruise. However, we've done this a few times. After you go to Isla Mujeres, you might like look around and say, "Oh wow, that taco stand looks way better.
Or that bar looks good.
That bar looks really good. That restaurant looks really good." So it's always good to have like cash or credit card for other things as well. So I definitely recommend that.
And most people will take US dollars.
Yes.
They all will.
So 2 other things that you should bring. If you are a lady, I definitely suggest bringing a cover up. Sometimes they don't tell you this. You might show up, for example, in your bikini and you're ready to go for your cruise for the day, and you don't realize that a few moments into this cruise, from its namesake, you will be asked
off your top.
to take off your bikini top. It'll be hoisted up, the flagpole.
With the sail,
Like with the sail, like so they're all flying like pirate ship style. It's really super fun. It's awesome. However, they're not like taking those down for you to go onto the island, and this is an island that is obviously open to the public, and there's children and whatever else. You have to have clothing, so make sure that you bring an appropriate cover up to where you can have a bikini top to hand over to the sail, and also something to wear onto the island.
So to more describe exactly what happens, you get on the ship, and there's going to be a hard pressure from the people on the ship that if you're on this boat, you're going to get topless.
Yes.
That's the whole point of this cruise, is it's a topless cruise. So you should either get off and don't go, or get topless. Now there's oftentimes 1 or 2 people who are like, I'm not going to. First off, why'd you buy tickets if that's the case? And they don't have fun. They kind of wind up sitting in the back by themselves. They don't, like, at least in our experience.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to get topless if you go on this cruise. That's fine. But they're going to put your bikini top up a flagpole, up the sail. And then when you get to kind of the destination, which is a little island, you quickly realize that there are families and other things on this island. And your bikini top is up a sail, and you can't easily get it. So in our case, I've given Amy my shirt, so you can go on the island. So I'm now shirtless. I obviously take off my shirt on the cruise too, but they don't run it up the flagpole. So what I do recommend, and what Amy recommends, is have something tucked away that you can put on to be more discreet when you go to the buffet. If you decide to go to a restaurant on the island, which there are some nearby, if you decide to go to a bar on the island, you can have a top and you can cover up and you can still do stuff. It's just a smart decision.
Right. So last but certainly not least, and this is totally optional because your drinks are included on the cruise. However, they might not be the drinks that you maybe want. This is more like, think like super college party. Like you're getting the like
fruit punch and rum.
The trash can punch and the fireball shots and the, just like pouring,
rum in your
the
mouth
liqueurs down your mouth, that kind of thing. If you were somebody who is just a little bit like, oh no, that hangover is not for me, and you want to bring your, whatever your preferred drink is, I suggest just bringing your own bottle. That can kind of just be worth, like, yes, the drinks are included, but if you want to bring your own, sometimes that
no one's gonna be mad at that.
No one's gonna be mad at that, and that can be a smart thing to avoid a really bad hangover the next day.
Fair.
So along those same lines.
Also bring a towel from the hotel.
Yes.
A couple of hotel towels.
Yes. Make sure you bring them back.
Yeah.
So you don't get charged. But so along those same lines, I do suggest, while I love this experience and it's so much fun and it's something that we've done several times and I think we'll definitely do again. I don't see us, I think we'll probably definitely do this again at some point. Pace yourself.
Ooh.
It is a long day.
It's a long day.
You have been very smart because sometimes like
You tease me because I pace myself too much.
like on the way out, like you'll just be kind of sitting down and you're like, all right, I'm chilling. Like I'm waiting for my time to get crazy.
Right.
And you're not wrong for that because I've seen so many people just die on this, like just completely.
They run out. Their battery is done.
Yeah, they're like asleep, napping, and on the way back, or
Puking.
they're puking, or
Overdid it.
They're like falling into the water on the way onto the island. I mean, I've seen it all. So there is some good sense, and as much as you want to like really party and go crazy, and you've got the best hosts in the world that are really going to be encouraging you to make your worst decisions, fight that urge a little bit and
go into it easy.
Yeah,
at least
like,
with the
pace
drinking
yourself.
and stuff, right?
It's a long day. It's a long day. So
you can imagine if you're out there for 6 hours, we'll say, and you're out in the heat of Mexico, no shade, the sun blasting down on you for 7 hours straight, and you're drinking rum.
Yeah. There's a little shade, like so don't worry, but for the most part in the day, you're not gonna have shade. Yeah, just to...
By the end of the day, it's rough.
Yeah.
And we've seen, like, at the end of the day, there will be 15 people hanging off the back of the boat puking, like just seasick and nauseous and run down. 40 people in the front of the boat still partying, but don't be somebody who just overdoes it too early.
Right.
The DMV from Chicago had a rough time.
Yes. That's maybe a fun story that we will share in a next video. So for this next topic, I don't know if we can actually talk about this like on regular YouTube.
Okay.
This topic, what do you think?
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's
So
fair.
you kind of touched on this a little bit, and I think it's a fair...
This is a topless
thing.
cruise.
We've heard a lot of questions, and people always ask, like, but do I have to be topless?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say
I like
yes.
what Amy wrote,
I would say yes.
that you should get topless or get the out.
GTFO.
Yeah, it kind of ruins it for people if you're not going to be participating,
Right.
guys and girls, because
Yes.
eventually throughout the cruise, everyone's going to get pretty stripped down naked.
Right.
That's
so,
the whole point. Like
yeah.
you're having fun.
Yes.
Don't be the person who's a spoil sport who's like, yeah, don't take pictures there.
Right.
I've seen people trying to get pictures and stuff.
Don't bring your phone. This is not something that you film. It's not something you take pictures of. And if you don't feel comfortable, like that's totally your
just don't go.
That's totally your prerogative, but just don't go because oftentimes that kind of ruins the experience for everyone else that does want to do that. You can feel like really judged and self-conscious if all of a sudden there's like 2 or 3 or 4 girls that are like, I don't do that. And they're kind of looking at you side-eyed if you want to do what you're there to do on the cruise. Yeah. Also, like, likewise, if you are somebody who you don't want your partner to take their top off, because sometimes it's not just like the woman that's deciding it. If you are like, oh, I want to go on this cruise, but I don't want my wife to be topless, this is not the cruise for you. Like, it's just not. Just don't do it.
I'll also point out someone else who should get out. Single guys. I've only seen 2 single guys, I believe, go, and they didn't have a great time. And sometimes it's like a guy will go with his, like, remember she said his sister?
Oh, that was
like there was
weird.
just like some
That was
awkward
weird.
times. If you're not comfortable with weird stuff with a person you're with, don't go. Don't take a couple that you're not comfortable seeing some weird stuff. That if you don't want them to see you in the buff, don't go with them. If
it's like your work friends or your cousins or your in-laws or this is just not the time to like don't try to make this work. It's not gonna work. It's gonna be a really bad idea. I've seen people have
single guys get teased by the hosts a little bit too. They usually only let 1 or 2 if they're trying to just fill out attendance. They won't let a bunch go.
Right.
But sometimes they'll let 1 or 2, and it's not that fun for them because they wind up being the butt of a lot of jokes.
I think sometimes if you have like a really, really charismatic personality and you don't care about being that guy, proceed with caution, I would say. But
it's LGBTQ friendly.
Yeah.
So don't worry about that.
Right. But I would say, try to go with a couple and don't be, I think they, like, if you are a single guy, I think they call them like creeps, and you're like,
just know you're gonna be teased a little bit if you're a single guy.
Just be ready. Just be
They
ready.
usually don't let single guys go, but sometimes single guys buy tickets for a couple, and then the girl doesn't show up, and that winds up being shady.
Right. So yeah, just know your personality. Like, I'm sure that there's exceptions to every rule, and there's probably some guys that are kind of like grandfathered in and they go and they have a great time. But I would make sure that you have really thick skin. And that's another question that we get a lot, you know, from single guys, like, oh, is temptation right for me, or is this right for me? And I would say, as far as a single guy, temptation, yes.
Temptation, they love
totally
that.
Fine. This cruise in particular, big question mark, probably no. Like, most likely no.
I've seen single guys go, but it's usually only one or two, and they do wind up being the butt of the jokes. And I think it's usually because, oh, I bought the tickets in advance and my girl didn't show up, or there was never a girl and I just bought 2 tickets.
Or I'm here with my sister. I've seen it
Yeah,
all. Like, I've seen a lot of weird things. Don't do it. Don't be that guy.
Okay, some people like sisters.
So when you are on this cruise, you might wonder, like, how do you fill the time? Like, what are you going to be doing? Basic setup for the day generally is, you know, you're going to get on a cruise, you're going to go to an island, you're also going to have a stop off point where you get to snorkel and swim and enjoy the beautiful Caribbean in Mexico. It's fantastic. You come back. What do you do while you're on the boat? Well, there's going to be some music, there's going to be a dance floor, you're going to have a really fun host, and those hosts are going to be kind of facilitating some super fun games. And again, we will tell you more about these fun games kind of in the area where we're allowed to tell you about them.
There's a lot of whipped cream.
But just know, yeah, it's a lot of whipped cream, it's a lot of conga lines, it's a lot of interesting competitions, it's a lot of things that you are not going to see at Sandals. So I would keep that in mind. Don't, like, it's definitely a day that's full of a lot of games and fun and entertainment. It's jam-packed, and you're going to have a lot of fun. So I guess I'll leave it at that. So I think this one right here, maybe some of the guys don't know that this might be part of it.
Oh, the guys will get completely naked?
Yeah.
So that's something that, if you're a guy going on this, please note, you are not forced to get naked. I would say about 80% of guys do get naked, depending on the crowd. Like, I've seen our most recent one, there was about 30% of the guys didn't. Maybe 30-40%. They were kind of just too cool for school, and they were just there to observe. And even there, like, it was a negative environment for me if you've got some guys who are just kind of off on the corner being too cool to participate. But I would say the large majority of people who go on this cruise within an hour to 2 in are going to be in the buff. So that's the whole point of this, is it's kind of an edgy feeling to be on natural. On a cruise.
Like on a boat, and also snorkeling, which is a really, really fun experience if you are just like skinny dipping in the ocean, like in completely clear water. Like, it's a really, really fun, like, bucket list awesome experience. Like, where else are you gonna get to do that? It's really, really fun. I highly recommend it. It happens. Like, be ready if you're a guy, like, maybe you thought, like, oh no, I was just gonna wear my swim trunks the whole time. You are probably gonna be asked to not, and you should oblige. It's the polite thing to do for all of your friends.
Okay, so it seems like we're starting to get to some of the edgier stuff where we want to tell stories.
We do, but we can't right now.
So we should save that?
We'll save that, and we'll redirect.
We'll put a link in the description.
Yeah, but we'll redirect and give you guys some tips for when you get off on Isla Mujeres.
Key choice of words. When you get out, when you go to the island.
Right.
Yes.
There is an included buffet for the day.
Yes.
That comes with your cruise ticket, and it's great. It's fine. It's like normally like some salad and maybe some fruit, like some chicken and rice and beans, and just very it's fine.
Island food.
It's totally fine. However, every time that we've been there, I think we've kind of looked a little bit like jealously, like, oh, there's actually some really, really great restaurants here. And
they're 30 feet away.
Yeah, and there's some really fun bars with amazing cocktails and some really fun stuff. So again, if you do want to just like treat yourself a little bit, I definitely suggest making sure that you bring cash for that, or like a credit card, and just venture out. That can kind of maybe be the difference between having a okay lunch and a really, really great lunch. And Isla Mujeres has some really, really great options, and I do suggest kind of venturing out and seeing those.
When you're on the island, are drinks, yeah, I think you can just get soda, right? You can't get alcoholic beverages?
Right. Alcoholic beverages are not included
On the island.
On the island. I think you can just get like water, and maybe there's like a lemonade or like a juice or something
I think
like
you
that.
can get Diet Coke from a 2-liter
Okay.
at the bar. Obviously, it feels better for me anyway if you have some cash to tip. The reason we keep bringing this up is because the first time we went there, I think we're at an all-inclusive resort, so we didn't have a lot of cash on us. And we were really struggling with the amount of cash that we had on us I would like to get some food, you would like to get a drink, and we need to tip the crew, and we've only got $20. So for us, it didn't feel good. So make sure you have enough to do the things you want to do. And if you're just in a swim trunk and a bikini, it makes it a little bit difficult. So just plan accordingly.
Yes. So I guess we'll leave you with just, I want to share some of our like fun stories. We can't do that here. So I will skip ahead and kind of tell you just like, a funny PG story. Like I said, one of the cool things about this cruise is it takes you to a fun, calm snorkeling spot to where you get to snorkel all natural. It's part of the cruise. It's super, super fun. However, our first time, I didn't know any better. You didn't know any better. We were like, oh, this is expected. This is probably what we always do. The water was choppy. It was like questionable whether or not the Mexican Coast Guard was even going to let the boat out that day. Eventually, we got the green light. We were able to go. Awesome. But it was like
3-4 foot waves. Like it was pretty.
It was a rough day.
Yeah.
And we are just booking it back. Like we're hauling tail back to the resort. All of a sudden, we stop in the middle, and I'm kind of wondering. I was like, oh, I thought we were going to like a little.
Yeah, we're supposed to snorkel in a cove, but they didn't do that this time.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. And then they just like stop the boat and are like, okay, you guys can get out here
and swim around if you want
to swim around here. I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is what it is. Like, I guess we'll let's go. It was chaos. Yeah. If you could imagine, a boat full of people that have been
drinking for 5 hours.
Yes.
Get thrown into choppy water and just in the middle of the ocean.
Middle of the ocean, choppy water, completely naked, little life vest like around your neck, like not even like it's like a little.
It was actually waist belts. It was belts.
That's what it is. So it's
they
not
had,
like
they had flotation belts. It wasn't even a life vest.
People were just like
floating away. Like they're just floating away.
Just straight out. It was ugly. It was not cute.
There was like two very petite little Mexican men trying to get everyone back onto the boat.
Giant
throwing
American
ropes out.
People, like back onto this boat. I don't know how they did it.
I'm surprised we didn't lose someone. It was a rough sea that day. The sea was angry that day, my friend.
It was so crazy. I was out there. I love the water. Like I love swimming. I'm like having a great time, and I turn around and I just look at like everyone next to me, and they look like they were just like
help.
Titanic survivors, like just snot crying, like like.
I don't think that's the usual. I think they usually go to a cove and there's that, but this was a special day. Steve wasn't there that day. It was like a different crew than it was a good time.
Just like do it. Total like great memory, wonderful, and that's just sort of a small example of the fun. Like you're gonna have a good time. Like
some things are gonna happen.
Awesome.
Keep an eye out for yourself.
Things will go down.
Yeah.
And remember that. I don't want to like be alarmist, but like it's Mexico. It's not the United States. You're gonna have
You're gonna be drinking. You're gonna be on a boat. There's gonna be. I injured my elbow at one point. I saw a lady fall off into the water. Like
you were doing some things though. You were.
Again, another story for another day. But yeah, there's a lot of people falling and puking and tripping and drinking, and it's fun.
So
but pace yourself.
You wrap the cruise up with some Beastie Boys. You want to tell us about this?
Oh yeah, so it was fun. At the very end of the cruise, we come in. And I can remember the host was like, does anyone know Beastie Boys Fight for Your Right? And I'm like, yup.
I've been training my whole life.
And we're coming into the port, probably 40, 50 naked people coming into like the dock, I guess. Mm-hmm. They throw me the microphone and I'm to sing the entire song. You wake up late for school and you don't want to go. Fight for your right to party. And I took over that, and I just had a sea of people, naked people behind me just jamming, and it was possibly the highlight of my life, was to do kind of live karaoke coming into port with a boat full of naked people.
Yeah.
Just speakers blaring. It was one of the most fun things that's ever happened. It's great.
A fun time was had by all.
Yeah, so folks, go ahead. We're gonna let you go ahead and click that link below. We're gonna give you all the. Woo! Can you tell that story? Okay, there's gonna be some stories, some groups, the Canadians. Maybe that one girl we stole from that guy. A lot of stuff. The whipped cream.
You know, like,
the conga line with the thing.
Oh yeah. The games. Yeah.
Woo. All right, we're gonna tell those stories. Those are probably what some of you hyper folks want to see. Make sure to click the subscribe button, click that like button. You know we love and appreciate you. This is a fun channel. Come back for more. We travel all around the world. We're going back to Japan. We're going to Singapore. We're going to Thailand. And we just went to New York last week. We just went to Mexico last week. So we got a lot of fun travel stories. Thanks for watching, and goodbye, my friends.